Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and today I'm going to be doing a celebrity psychic reading on Marilyn Manson. This was highly requested by a lot of viewers, and it's something that typically I wouldn't do a psychic reading like this because there's a lot of darker energy attached to it, but I am doing it for you all. And I am protected. And the first thing that I want to say for those of you that are not aware of who Marilyn Manson is, he was very popular in the 90s for his, his singing, his performing, his songwriting, overall for his artistry and his videos, his outlandish, well, as people would perceive it as kind of like being way out there as far as shock value is concerned. And he had a lot of success with his albums. One was called, I believe, the Antichrist, something like that along the lines. But, he is someone that reminds me of the male version of Madonna in many ways, where he came out and there was a lot of shock value. People just didn't want to accept him, or they immediately demonized him, for being someone that likes that is more gothic in nature and more into the macabre and etc. Me doing this reading, I'm not going to judge Marilyn. I'm not going to bash him or talk bad about him, because I respect the man for his artistry and what he's doing. I've never been really a fan of the music, so this is not going to be any biased on it. I'm giving you the raw truth of what I get from spirit, what I see for him for the remainder of 2019 and beyond, whatever else comes through. I do, not to defend him, but I do feel like he is someone who has been, crucified by the media in many ways and portrayed to be something so abominable, and it's just how society is nowadays. It's like, if we go back to the Salem witch trials and people were condemned back then, I feel like in many ways that's how he has been treated in this lifetime, being condemned for being an individual and an artist and expressing himself regardless of what is his religious preference or his spiritual preference, and how he chooses to write songs and what the content in his songs are. He does have a huge fan base and following still. But he is someone that has kind of paved the way in many ways for youth that and just people all over the world that were going through hardships and could identify with him. I think that's one of the things that he has brought into this world. And one of his life missions here on earth is to be music, have music come to life, to be art, a form of art and expressionism for himself. And some people just don't understand that. I feel like that a lot of people would, just bash him and say, well, he's not talented, he's a Satan worshiper, etc., without getting to know the real Marilyn Manson behind, all the costumes and stuff. He's a human being at the end of the day, and I think that's what we kind of, do that to a lot of artists. We don't see them as, being good because we go by what the media says, or we go by what we see as far as their costumes, their makeup, and how they act on stage and performances. This is all, more of an act. It's more of, for appearances. When it's, down, I chose to post this picture of him without any makeup so that people could see, well, he does have some black eyeliner, I believe, underneath, and maybe some shadow, but I chose this because it was the most raw form of a photo, and I feel like it captures his essence very well in it. When I tune into his soul, I do get a lot of pain. I do get that, his life hasn't been really easy. And yes, he's had a lot of fans, and he's had a love and attention and women, and, you name it, he's done it, and he's done everything. I feel like there's nothing that he really hasn't experienced in life. He's traveled the world. But he does have a sense of appreciation for art and for artistry and for a lot of these new talents that are coming out. They look up to Marilyn as someone as being, like a role model to them. But to get to the status that he got to, he had to go through a lot and a lot of criticism and face that, and that's not easy. It takes a very strong person to not succumb to the media, and to the way that the world is right now with people. I'm going to use a more recent person like Lady Gaga. When she first came out, she was kind of like the female version of Marilyn Manson. She was, in these costumes and very, there was a lot of shock value, and she was also demonized by the, Christians and people out in the world that maybe didn't understand her individuality, and she's morphed, into someone else, now as she's gotten older, it's still her, but she's morphed into a more, or evolved is a better word to use, into a different, more refined, more polished, and somewhat more accepting, and I feel like that's with Marilyn, he's never going to conform, that's what I get from his souls, that he's always going to be staying true to his artistry. So yes, you may see him rarely like this, stripped down without any makeup, but then you may see one contact that is, a different color, and then he's, the other eye, his regular eye color. He's always going to have that shock value. He's always going to love music and do music. I do feel like when I tune into his soul, like I said, there's a lot of pain. I do get that. I do get that there's a soul fragmentation. So he's a very old soul. I want to say Marilyn, actually, he knows about his past lives as well. And I do feel like he knows that he was in the 1800s. There's a past life in the 1800s, and I feel like in that past life, somehow his soul was fragmented. So there's a piece of his soul here still, that is Marilyn, who he is today, but there's also a piece of his soul stuck in the, as weird as this is going to sound, in the spirit realm as a spirit. So he has reincarnated several times. He does follow, I believe, Anton LaVey, which is the founder of the Church of Satan, or, there's some affiliation. I don't follow that, but I know that he, looks up to them or has some kind of affiliation. And with Aleister Crowley's, I can't even pronounce or talk, Aleister Crowley's writings or whatnot. So, whether he is, a Satanist or he is someone that worships that, I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to bash him on it. I respect everyone as a spiritual person, their beliefs. If, that's what he is into, I'm not here in the psychic reading to bash him or to, call him a Satanist. What I'm here to is to give, psychic insight to the fans that have requested this reading for Marilyn, to find out, what's going on with him. But like I said, I feel like there's a lot of fragmentation and healing that will take place when he does reincarnate again. I do feel like a lot of the makeup and the costumes and his music is kind of hides a lot of the the feelings that he projects, that the damage that he has endured, the abuse, and things like self-mutilation. These are darker topics that a lot of people could relate to, that they have gone through at some point in their life. There's a lot of people out there that cut themselves. It's a form of coping mechanism to kind of deal with a lot of the bullying and things that they would have gone through in earlier years. A lot of people get help, but these are kind of the themes and stuff. I'm not going to go into it. There's a lot more, but I respect him and I'm not going to go into it. There's a lot of other things that he has gone through and has experimented with, etc. A lot of people think that he's heavily into drugs. I kind of feel like at this point in his life, he does have health conditions. And again, I cannot diagnose him, not a doctor. But I do feel like at this point, he is pretty much, at the point where he knows that if he would to continue to do things like that, that it would have adverse effects for him. So I feel like, in many ways, I know that people will think that I'm crazy, but I feel like he is not exactly sober, but he has kind of scaled back a lot on what he used to do. And again, it's just years of wisdom and just, kind of coming more to a place where he just wants to focus on his life, whatever's left of his life. But when it comes to his heart, I do feel like there's a lot of pain, a lot of anger, trying to understand the world. He is angry in some way, at the world, but at the same time, he has made peace with himself. So he is not at this point in his life, I don't feel like he's upset with anyone in particular. People are going to have an opinion about him. They're always going to talk bad about him. That's something that he has come to accept. So there's nothing that really can shake Marilyn at this point, when I get into a soul, which is kind of rare because, everyone has feelings and emotions. I'm not saying that he's mental or anything like that, because he's not, but I do feel like there is this emotional void where he has reached this level of spiritual ascension, if you want to call it, where there's this Zen-like almost numbness to any kind of criticism. So, I just get that is going on. There is something that Spirit is talking about that he has to watch out for lies. Not that he's lying, but someone in his circle could be, spreading some lies about him, and just trying to be shady with him. More or less, he would know who this is, and that's something that he has to kind of be aware of, and just kind of, be on the lookout, because there are some people that are going to lie about him in his circle, but he's going to come out of it triumphantly, and they're not going to be able to damage his character. I do feel like in many ways there is a lot of karmic justice that he is receiving now. People that used to bash him now, and criticize him for his, his outfits and, what he did on stage. There's a lot of other artists right now that are doing far worse things out there, or more of a shock value out there, than what he did. So there's, a lot of new people out there. And then if you look at TV, with all these shows and stuff, there's just a lot that's out there that, really and truly, pales in, or how would I say it, is very pale in comparison to what Marilyn did. So I do see for him that there is a lot of thoughts of love for him when it comes to his love life. He's very private. Yes, we know Marilyn to be, the singer, the performer, but there's a lot of privacy around his love life. I do feel like there is someone he's interested in. There's a lot of back and forth with this person, and I feel like with Marilyn, he wants to be almost like in an open relationship with people, not necessarily committed or attached so much, because like I said, when it comes to his heart, he can love. He is human. He can love, but when he does love, he loves very hard, and at the same time, he doesn't feel like, in his mind, when I tune in, is like, his definition of love is different compared to what you or I or some other people would mean. We all have our own interpretation of love, but his is kind of dispersed, like it can be equally distributed, and still he can feel complete and whole on the inside. So again, this is very complex. He's a very complex but very intellectual man, very smart. I think people have mistaken him and have labeled him as someone who is not smart and educated, but really and truly, when I tune into his soul, it does not lie. He is someone that's very sophisticated, very eccentric. He likes the finer things in life. He likes to create. He has been brought into this world to create. He is standing in a very solid position in his life right now. where he can call the shots on certain things, that he is working on these different projects. But there is a turnaround happening this year for him. I do feel like, it is public knowledge that he is touring with, or, doing something with Rob Zombie. So that is public knowledge that he's going to be out there, of course. I feel like that's going to be successful. However, there is some immaturity, some younger people that may, be doing things during those concerts or during those tours that he's doing, that he has to kind of be on the lookout for. Not that he would be in danger or anything, but just I feel like some of these groupies or these people that would be attending, his fans that would be attending, there is a certain level of danger amongst them in the crowd that could go on, and during one of his tours, wherever he's going to be appearing. But when it comes to his love life, I don't feel like there's a spirit is showing me a heartbreak. There is a relationship, that's formed or is forming, but there is heartbreak on the horizon. And I just feel again like his path here on earth has been very different, and a lot of you can relate that, maybe you've been in several relationships and you've been faithful, but it doesn't work out and you've separated, and then you just wonder, if I'm going to be single forever, because you're at a certain age and nothing works out. And that's kind of like what I see with Marilyn, that he will, go into relationships, and they may be more short-lived. I don't feel like he's given up on the idea of marriage. I don't I don't see marriage for him in the way that he would want it to be. I feel like, again, the way that he would want it to be is totally different, and I won't discuss it on here, but like I said, almost like being married to two people. I don't know. That's how the way it's coming in from spirit. So, yeah, that's what I'm getting there from that. Health wise, I do feel like I said, going back on that subject, that he does need to be careful, especially with his heart. That would be one of the things. And again, scaling back on anything that he, used to do, that he is still doing, or tempted around, people that he is around. That would be, something to scale back. Interestingly enough, Spirit is bringing up Dita Von Teese, which I don't know if I said her name right, Dita, but I need to, reference that, because I feel like her and Marilyn were actually soulmates, and they missed that opportunity to be together. Yeah, I feel like they were soulmates, and very much so. But again, they're both a little. Dita is kind of dark as well. She likes kind of the gothic type of things, but very eccentric. But the feminine version of that, of course. But with Marilyn, he's kind of like the androgynous. I think I would say that right, something like that. He embodies his spirit embodies the male and female, the duality of the feminine and the masculine. So it's a way of expressing himself. That's the way it comes through. Again, I get a lot of success with his finances, with his career. I don't see anything really, negative that is going to something that he has to kind of like be, really scared about or worried about. I don't see that with him. I also do get that there would be some kind of dark movie, like a horror flick, that he may be acting in at some point. Could be collaborating again. This could be a collaboration with Rob Zombie. I don't know, but there is some kind of talk of a film that's very dark in nature, which I kind of feel like kind of would fit Marilyn in his, the role that he would play in that movie, whether it's directing it or starring in it. But he does have some projects. I do feel like there is another book as well that will be coming out, and there's something about art. I don't know, like in his house, I keep seeing visions of weird paintings, a lot of black and white. So I don't know if that's like his favorite colors. I've never been in his home, but I do get that there's a lot of different type of art on the walls that he has. And again, I feel like at some point, he has also been haunted as well by spirits. And I feel like he is a believer in the spirit realm, and very much, like I said, spiritually awakened. Even though some people may not agree with me, that is what I get from Marilyn. He's someone that, again, is very misunderstood. but very much has connections to the other side. Whether, he's been plagued by dark dreams, or he's had experiences of things moving in his home. But there is, a lot of that around him, and I do feel like he's been haunted before. But this is, I could go on and on and on. There's just a lot of different facets and stuff. But interestingly enough, I feel like he is spiritually protected in many ways. From negative vibes and stuff like that, even though some people would say, well, Raymond, he is someone that is very dark, um, and why, a lot of people that are tuning into my channel are probably asking themselves, why would Raymond, decide to read someone like Marilyn Manson? Well, first of all, like I said, I do believe in this world that there is a duality. There is darkness and there's light, and without one or the other, we cannot coexist. And we all carry a certain level of darkness, and in through darkness, there, you reach a certain point of healing and light, and through light, there is a certain amount of darkness that comes in as well. So, like I said, I hope that this reading, kind of explains, who Marilyn Manson is. I don't get that he's a bad person. I don't get that, that like people portray him to be. He is a human being. He has feelings. He is someone that is a visionary. He has helped a lot of people, in the rock and, rock industry of music, rock and roll or alternative, whatever type of music that he does, he has pioneered a way in many ways for people, and he will continue to do that. I do get also, before I wrap up this reading, that in many ways, I don't feel like he thinks that he's going to live very long. I don't know why he if he thinks this, or it's something in his mind that keeps, going on. But I keep hearing these thoughts when I'm tuning into him, about death, and he's not afraid of death at all. He like I said, he's very comfortable with the concept of death and the other side in spirit, and he knows that souls never die. But with him, there's something about him knowing or feeling that he won't live, very long. I don't know if this is, again, like this is something that he thinks about quite often, but regardless of the situation, those of you that are supporters of Marilyn and fans, the best thing to do is to, continue to, support him, support Marilyn Manson if you are a fan. I hope that this reading did kind of open you up, those of you that are fans and those of you that are not fans, or who are new to, any kind of person that you're not familiar with, to be more accepting of people in the world, and to come from a place of love and not hate and not judgment of other people. And it's so hard to do when we're here in the physical world, to be very unbiased when it comes to certain things. And that is just who I see, what who Marilyn is, and things that are coming up for him. So I do want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you did like this reading, please give it a thumbs up. If you would like to book a private psychic reading for me, I just don't read celebrities. I do psychic readings for everyday people. You can go to my website at www.raymondguzman.net/shop, and also follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Psychic Medium Ray. Don't forget to pick up a copy of my book, Starseed Footsteps. It is available on Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble. It is about 40 chapters long or so, and it has a lot of spiritual topics on there that answers a lot of spiritual questions that you may have. You can also get an autographed copy off of my website if you would like. So blessings and love and light. Have an amazing, amazing day or night wherever you are.